What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. Now, I wanted to make this video to kind of give you my take on this debate of whether or not Guillermo Rigondeaux is a boring fighter, and to kind of explain why there is no wrong or right answer to that question, at least in my opinion. I don't feel like there's a wrong or right answer to that question. Alright, so as you guys know, Guillermo Rigondeaux, if you've watched my other videos, Guillermo Rigondeaux is one of my favorite fighters that I've ever watched. That's because, like I said in other videos, I'm an in the ring type of guy, you know what I'm saying? I like to watch what's going down inside the ring, pay attention to how these fighters fight. Rigondeaux is a master boxer, and that's not just my opinion. I think anyone can attest to the fact that Guillermo Rigondeaux is a masterful boxer, meaning that he is an advanced level fighter. He's a very intelligent fighter and has one of the highest ring IQs in boxing today. As you guys all know, Guillermo Rigondeaux, two-time Olympic back-to-back gold medalist, had a very, very good amateur career. Not exactly sure on his amateur record. I heard some that were like 300 and something with, a handful of losses, 12 losses, and then I've heard like 285. I've seen too many reported amateur records for him, so I just know he had a good one. He had a very good amateur career, and then not to mention, the countless world champion amateur games that he's won. The Olympics, won that twice. Vasily Lomachenko is the only other two-time Olympic gold medalist back-to-back that's fighting today, and a lot of people like to debate on who is better between the two. I'm not going to answer that question. They are two of my favorite fighters, and they are both two master boxers. But let's go ahead and get into what this video is really going to be about. Now, is Guillermo Rigondeaux a boring fighter? That depends. It depends on what type of fan you are, what type of exposure you've had to the sport, what do you prefer when you watch a boxing match. Some people watch it to watch, skills being displayed, how fighters are doing things in the ring, stuff like that. That's usually the more hardcore fans' perspective of a boxing match. They're not just, they like the entertainment, obviously, but a huge part of that entertainment is what the boxers are doing in the ring. The first time I seen Lomachenko do when he kind of jumps to the outside of a fighter and gets them to turn on the spot and then walks him into and turns him into a punch. Like, when I first seen that, I was like, well, holy shit. Guillermo Rigondeaux, he's a southpaw, so anytime he fights an orthodox fighter, the first time I ever seen an orthodox fighter trying to get onto the outside of his lead hand, he makes this dip move and he steps to the area that the boxer that went to his outside was standing to completely avoid any attack from the orthodox fighter. The first time I seen him do it was in a fight with Rico Ramos, and Rico Ramos was punching at air, though Guillermo Rigondeaux was just literally right in front of him. So the things that they do in the ring excite me. I would consider myself a hardcore boxing fan, being that I like all boxers. Obviously, you guys know there's a couple of boxers that I'm not a huge fan of. Nevertheless, if they're a boxer, then I have some form of respect for them. But, on the flip side, if you're a more casual watcher, you don't really get too big into digging deep and trying to find these fighters that, American television hasn't hasn't given much exposure, then chances are you're more of a casual watcher. If you catch it on HBO or Showtime, or if you're in like the UK, you catch it on like Sky Sports or something, and they usually broadcast the more well-known fighters from around the world. Chances are that's what you are. You're a casual fan. There's nothing wrong with being a casual fan. It means you like boxing, but you're not so interested and to the point where you have to see how every fighter fights. You know what I'm saying? So to the eye of a casual boxer, they want to see more entertainment. They like the brawls. They like the Salido Vargas type fights or the Thurman Porter type fights where they're going at it and they're throwing punches and it's a slugfest in the phone booth. You're probably a fan of Bam Bam Rios, when he was doing real well in his career. Fighters like that, like the Ruslan Provodnikovs, the Mike Alvarados, the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s, the Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barreras, Tim Bradley, Sean Porter, like those guys, those guys who are very thrilling fighters, man. Like they put on an absolute performance when they fight, and they don't give a fuck. They go in there and they're there to fight. You know what I'm saying? John Molina Jr., Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner in some of his fights, man, he gets in there too. He's not afraid to, fucking step in the pocket, and what I'm saying, he's real defensively responsible, so he's gonna block and slip and roll off a lot of punches, use his big frame to not give you a chance to hit him cleanly, but he's gonna stand right there with you and throw punches too and hit you. Every time you make a mistake, he's gonna hit you. You probably are more fans of like those type of fighters, you know what I'm saying? So, or your favorite fighter is one of the more well-known, like Floyd Mayweather, like Andre Ward, guys who don't have particularly the most entertaining style, but they have such an exposure to casual fans that you don't mind watching those guys fights, because you know what I'm saying, you can how do you say, you're more comfortable watching because that they're bigger personalities in the sport. Now Guillermo Rigondeaux, he's taken a lot of punishment from casual fans and some hardcore fans, networks, boxing reporters, journalists, you name it. He's taken so much negative criticism towards him. A lot of it I feel like is unnecessary, but a lot of it I can understand, because not everybody is gonna like that style. Me personally, I'm infatuated with it. I watch a Guillermo Rigondeaux fight at least once a week. Even if I've seen the fight, like the Nonito Donaire fight, I've watched that fight over 100 times. I was just so fucking impressed with how Guillermo Rigondeaux was boxing. I mean, sure, did it have some lackluster moments in it? Of course, yeah, Has Guillermo Rigondeaux ever made me feel like I wasn't being entertained in a fight? Yes, he has. He has. And if you say that he's never done that to you, then chances are you're telling the truth or you're lying. But I mean, I can't tell you how you feel about a fighter, but me personally, when he was on the Canelo versus Miguel Cotto undercard, that fight with, I forget what his last name, I think it was Sanchez or something like that, or some Latino fighter, and man, it was, and what pissed me off is because I'm like telling everybody who's around me, like, dude, you gotta check this motherfucker out, he's fucking badass, dude, crazy skill, you know what I'm saying? And then the fight comes on, they're like, bro, your dude is boring. And I'm just like, damn, like, I feel salty as shit, you know what I'm saying? I just hyped this motherfucker up, and he was hardly doing anything, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing much in that fight. I mean, sure, I'm thinking he made a statement. He was probably trying to make, like, a statement, like, why the fuck did you guys put this dude in here with me? Like, he's not going to be able to compete with me. So I'm just going to make this an easy night for myself. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad you're looking out for your own, man, but... You know what I mean? I would have liked to see you break his jaw, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you break everyone else's jaw, it seems like. I loved the fight with, I forget what his name is, Yagasha or whatever. I think that was his name. I liked that fight when the dude was like fucking, it looked like he was like a foot taller than him. And he just looked so much bigger than Guillermo Rigondeaux. I think Rigondeaux got dropped twice, got back up. They're pretty flashy knockdowns. The spin move kind of backfired on him for that first knockdown, but he got back up and he did his thing, and he ended up beating the living hell out of that guy. So, you know what I'm saying? It depends on what type of fan you are. That fight on the Cotto Canelo undercard, I was like, man, this shit is just. I'm like, come on, man. I know what you're capable of doing. Just give me something. I mean, he landed a couple of decent shots in there, but you know what I'm saying? Play with the dude, do like a Lomachenko and just toy with the guy if you have to. At least, that's somewhat entertaining, I mean, I'm not trying to compare Loma and Rigondeaux, you know, but in a way they are very comparable in a sense that they both have master qualities of their craft. They've mastered their craft. They know the tricks. They know all the tricks. You know what I'm saying? That's where they're comparable at, is that they know all the tricks. They just choose to fight in two different styles. One comes from the Cuban boxing school. The other one comes from the Ukrainian boxing school, which in a way are almost one and the same because they teach fighters how to box. They teach fighters the tricks of the trade, feet positioning or foot positioning, body positioning, punch selection. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's a crazy fucking, you know what I'm saying? It's easy to compare those two because, like I said, they've mastered the craft. They know how to do pretty much anything they want in the ring. So yeah, to the casual fan, Guillermo Rigondeaux, yeah, I could see where they come from when they call him boring. But that's no reason for a casual fan to call Guillermo Rigondeaux a bum or a shit fighter, a piece of shit fighter, or he sucks, or he doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where the line gets drawn there. You can call him boring all you want, but that's where the line gets drawn. You know, on the flip side, us hardcore fans, you know what I'm saying? We can't call these casual fans. We can't just, you know, we can't slander the casual fan for feeling the way that they do. We can't call them dumbasses or biased or you're a racist motherfucker or anything like that. If they call him boring, I don't think they're being racist. I just really think they think he's boring or they don't like watching him fight. So that's no reason for myself or any other hardcore fan to attack a casual watcher of boxing for saying that Guillermo Rigondeaux is boring. Now, if they were to go off and say that this dude's boring and he doesn't know how to box, then yeah, we can go ahead and start defending him all we want. Hey, I feel you. You think he's boring? That's cool. But for you to say that he is not a good boxer, now you're crossing the line. You know what I'm saying? You must not know what you're looking at, or you probably never boxed before, or you know what I'm saying? And the same goes for other fighters as well. You know, master fighters or like very good, skilled fighters, like the 2012 Ukrainian Olympic team, who are now pretty much all professional. All those dudes are fucking talented fighters. Gamboa, Lara, Guillermo, all those guys who came from Cuba. Joel Casamiro back in the day, Luis Ortiz now. You can't call these guys bums or shit fighters. They are not. They are very highly talented, very skilled boxers. If you don't like the way that they fight, that doesn't really mean much in a boxing sense. If you don't like the way that they fight, that doesn't say anything about whether they're good or not. It just means you don't like watching them. You know what I'm saying? Like Vladimir Klitschko, probably one of my least favorite fighters in the sport. I have nothing against him personally. I don't hate the guy. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't like the Alexander Povetkin fight. I thought he was clinching and, you know, played a pretty dirty fight in that fight. But I get no entertainment out of him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that he's a bad boxer. He's not the most, or that he's a shit fighter. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing in the ring and yada yada yada. I mean, I'll get say that he's a pretty he keeps it pretty simple in the ring, but it's worked for him because he's one of the most accomplished heavyweights that are still around today. You know what I'm saying? So for me to slander Klitschko for being an ass fighter, that would be wrong of me. But to say that I'm not a big fan of him because I'm not very fond of watching him fight, then that's a different story. That's just how I feel. You know, if I get no entertainment out of the fight, then I'm not gonna force myself to sit down and watch it. I mean, I will if I'm doing these videos and I'll give you my best analysis, but I'm not gonna go off and be like, well, he was boring as fuck and, you know, hey, he's shitty. You guys shouldn't even watch the fight. You know what I'm saying? That'd just be wrong for me to do. So that's kind of where I stand on this whole casual versus hardcore fan when it comes to fights being boring or fights, you know, or stink fest. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, you know, gave Terrence Crawford a lot of shit for the Victor Polster fight. So did I. I thought his excessive movement was just, I think he could have made a way bigger statement, but I've never, and you guys seen the videos I've made. I make videos pretty much praising Terrence Crawford, you know what I'm saying? Because I think he's another one of those special talented fighters, and he does a lot of fucking things so well in the ring, and he's very intelligent, and you know what I'm saying? So I defend Crawford's skill all day, every day, because I know what I'm looking at. But did he kind of stink the joint out in the Postal fight? Yeah. But Postal stunk the joint out a little bit too. You could tell he was really reluctant to engage with Terrence Crawford, which was the smart thing for him to do. Technically it was the smart thing for him to do. Terrence Crawford is the bigger puncher between the two, and he is the quicker fighter between the two. And that's bad chemistry for you when the guy who's a harder puncher than you is also the faster between you and him. Getting into an exchange with that guy spells trouble for you, and he could have potentially gotten knocked out if he went to try to engage Terrence Crawford head on. He tried to a little bit towards the end, and he had some successful moments in between the combinations, but Postal couldn't get a punch off without taking return fire from Crawford. Now that's the type of champion Crawford is. You know what I'm saying? You hit him, he's gonna hit you back. There's a lot of reasons for that fight not being as entertaining as it should have been or could have been, but it happened the way it happened, so we move on from there. Like I said, that's where I stand on this whole fighters being boring and fighters sucking, or casual fans saying that some boxers suck and they're boring and they suck because they're boring, and hardcore fans slandering casual fans, calling them idiots and dumbasses and faggots and whatever the fuck comes out of these commenters, from their fingers because they're typing. I'm talking mainly in the comment sections. It's wrong. You shouldn't go ahead and you shouldn't attack a casual fan for thinking a fight's boring. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. If they just obnoxiously slander a fighter's boxing skill but has no boxing vernacular or boxing knowledge to back up any of those statements, then that's when we move in to defend the fighters that they're slandering, because we're not defending them because we're emotionally fucking attached, or we're, you know what I'm saying? I mean, some people do get pretty emotionally attached to their fighters, their favorite fighters, but it's usually the ones, and I'd make this statement before, it's fuck everybody who isn't my favorite fighter type of fan. Those fans, you guys should probably be a little bit more open-minded to the sport of boxing. Give some other fighters a chance. It's not that serious. There's thousands of fighters out there. I'm sure you'll like one who isn't, your favorite fighter. You just got to give it a shot, or learn some boxing or something, and maybe that'll kind of open up your mind a little bit, or go fight or go box yourself, and maybe that'll open your mind a little bit. Maybe you can have a higher appreciation for what these fighters are capable of doing. It's like, you ever pick up a hobby? This is one of the ways I can explain it. You ever pick up a hobby and you're like, and maybe you thought before that's kind of stupid or something, or you talk like me, right? I was a skateboarder, and I used to talk shit about skateboarders, and then somehow, I don't know, reality slapped me in the face, and I tried to skateboard once, and I fell in love with it, and I started to get good at it. And then before I knew what I was looking at, I never looked at skateboarders as they're doing something that takes a lot of skill to do until I started skateboarding for myself. You know what I'm saying? And I used to go to the parks, and I see these guys doing what they're doing, and I'm just fucking crazy amazed by what they're doing. And then you get a lesser known, or you get people who don't skateboard, and they're well, they're just jumping downstairs, and you know what I'm saying? You ever picked up a hobby like that, and then you looked at the pros, or you looked at the people who are doing it so much better than you, and then you've developed this higher appreciation for what they're doing. The same to me applies to boxing. If I would have never boxed as a child, I wouldn't have the appreciation for some of the fighters that I do for their boxing ability. You know what I mean? Makes me wish I could have been that good or made it to that level. You know what I mean? But boxing didn't stick with me, or I didn't stick with boxing. So, I was passionate about it, but I felt more comfortable on this side of the boxing world. So I'm a boxing fan first, and I love the sport. You know what I mean? And anybody who doesn't know boxing so well, in my town, usually comes to me and asks me questions about boxing. Or some boxers who are just getting started comes to me to learn a thing or two. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I've pictured, that's the way I look at it. Like when I go around the YTBC and I see that people are, like talking so much shit about particular fighters. I know Triple G is probably like the biggest victim of this, or even Canelo. Those are like two of the biggest victims of fans being on, two different sides of the spectrum. Like the hardcore boxing fans, we look at Triple G and we see craft. We see everything that he does right and things that he doesn't do so well, which isn't very many things. We, casuals or just people who don't like him, they see a come forward, power punching pressure fighter, and that's it. And that's all they see. They don't see his head movement. They don't see his parry the jab while throwing his own jab at the same time. They don't see him slipping shots and throwing his counters. They don't see him cutting off the ring. They don't see him pressuring fighters to the point where they make mistakes and then he jumps on it just like that. They see the power. They see him dropping his hands in front of an opponent and getting hit and then saying that he got exposed. They see him fighting a welterweight who is actually a very good boxer, being able to land shots on him, and they say he's exposed. They say he has no head movement. If you watch the Kell Brook fight, it becomes very apparent immediately that Triple G knows that Kell Brook is a decent boxer, but what doesn't work on Triple G is trying to use your footwork to avoid his shots. He's too good at cutting the ring off. He's gonna trap you in the corner. The only time, and I've said this in videos before, in my opinion, the way someone beats Triple G is they have to be as willing to fight as he is, for one. They have to be able to take a punch, because when Triple G cracks you, even if you're the best boxer in the world, if Triple G cracks you, it could be a done deal right there. So they got to be able to take a punch. They got to be able to back Triple G up, which isn't an easy task to do. When you got someone who uses his feet aggressively like he does to cut you off, cut the ring off on you and trap you and keep you stationary so he can start delivering his punishment, you know what I mean? It's not an easy thing to do. Unless you can stop his forward momentum, like in the center of the ring or something, and you guys both go to work and just see who comes out better. But outboxing Triple G isn't an easy task unless you're very good at boxing off the back foot. But you better be very fast on your feet, and you gotta be able to elude him or negate him from cutting off the ring on you. You know what I'm saying? That's the only fighter that I could see beating Triple G. And I've already said it. Daniel Jacobs is not that guy. He got outboxed by Dmitry Pirog up until he got knocked out. Dmitry Pirog, fucking excellent boxer. It's a shame that he's not fighting today. I would have loved to see him fight Triple G. But Triple G, he comes from that similar Eastern European school as Dmitry Pirog does. Very fundamentally sound. Defensively responsible when he actually respects his opponent's power, like David Lemieux, and hits like a Mack truck. You know what I mean? The skill, the defensive responsibility, and the power all combined together, and his aggressiveness all combined together, makes for a very dangerous yet very beautiful boxer to watch. That's why casuals and hardcore fans alike appreciate Triple G for the way that he fights, because we see the hardcores, we see the technician in the ring doing his thing. The casuals, they see the monster in the ring doing his thing. They're the same person. I don't know, not to ramble on Triple G too much, but you know what I mean. And then people form their opinions, and there's nothing we can really say to them about those opinions. There's nothing we can really say or do to change their minds about that, but that's okay, because that's what makes this sport so interesting when you're on the fan side of things, you know what I mean? Because disagreeing with a fellow boxing fan gives you guys something to talk about. It gives you a chance to express how you feel about boxing, or how you feel about a particular fighter, or you know what I mean, what you like about him and what you don't like about him, So I think that out of respect, the hardcore fans let the casuals think what they think, and don't bash them for it. But if the casuals overstep that boundary into a realm that they don't know a whole lot about, and trust me, if you know boxing, you know when someone doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to boxing. You know what I'm saying? Usually the best indicator is seeing something that's not there. You know what I mean? Like, I watched this video about Paulie Malignaggi talking about Triple G. Go figure, Daniel Jacobs is standing right next to him, and it's a fucking hilarious video. He was going on and on and on and on and on about how Triple G doesn't have any head movement, and then it cuts into some of the Triple G fights, just showing him slipping punch after punch after punch, and countering punches, and slipping punches, and blocking punches. Like, amazing defense shown by Triple G. You know what I mean? Me personally, that makes me feel like Paulie Malignaggi knows what he's talking about, but he has something, you know, he's I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to say he has an agenda. I mean, he probably does, but he knows boxing well enough to know that Triple G has defense. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't think he has defense, just watch his fights. But don't pay attention to his offense. Just watch his fights when he's taking his time boxing. Watch his fights. You'll see his defense then. But the video of Paulie Malignaggi was just fucking hilarious because, I mean, I don't know if he was just saying that shit because Daniel Jacobs was standing next to him. Maybe he didn't want to give Triple G too much, you know what I'm saying, like credibility. And then, and another thing is too, like, what really bugs me the most about boxing fans is when a fighter has a lot of backing and is getting praise for his style. Some boxing fans feel the need to have to be the outcast, and they have to talk shit. You know what I'm saying? 9 out of 10 people are gonna praise Triple G. That other one is gonna be the guy to not praise him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they feel like he's being overhyped, or maybe that's just how they feel. I don't know. I don't see it personally, but I don't know. But if I feel like you're just slandering a dude because someone else was slandering a dude, then you're in the wrong sport, dude. You're in the wrong sport. You're just doing it either for attention, or you're just doing it because that's your homie over there talking shit about him. Man, I gotta back my dude up. Man, I know deep down that he can fight, but I'ma talk the shit too. So, I mean, if you're like that, then hey, man, fucking more power to you. But I mean, you're in the wrong sport, Jack. Boxers get praised by hardcore fans for something that they're doing, not because of their fucking image, or not so much because of what they're doing outside of the ring or the statements that they make and yada yada yada. Just because Triple G didn't take $15 million from Canelo makes him scared of Canelo. You know what I'm saying? When his fucking whole campaign for like the last couple years is either Canelo give me my belt or Canelo give me my fight. I mean, he fights anybody they tell him to fight, or he tries to at least. He's fighting Daniel Jacobs. A lot of people were saying he was lowballing Daniel Jacobs so he didn't have to fight him. Well, Daniel Jacobs got his money. I mean, it was probably more money that they felt he deserved, but he got his money. He paid him, so he's fighting him. But it doesn't make him scared. You know what I mean? And then you got guys who do know boxing, or guys that do box. And I'm a name drop because I think the dude is funny as fuck, but he's just like one of the clownest motherfuckers I've ever seen, like on YouTube, is that fucking Troy King dude. You know what I'm saying? I know dude knows how to box. You know, he seems like a really good boxer actually, but the dude is just like, I don't know if he even believes the shit that he's saying, and if he does, like, that motherfucker took too many hits or something. Like, you know, I ain't gonna say that I know more about boxing than he does, because obviously he's still in the game, and I've been out of it for a while now, but I mean, he's the dude who said that Walters was gonna destroy Lomachenko, you know what I mean? And then, after the fight, all of a sudden, Walters is layoff, and you can't expect Walters to beat a guy like Lomachenko when he hasn't had any fights. Like, you should have said that shit from the jump, Jack. Like, you should have said that from the jump. You know what I mean? And then he said Triple G is ass. I mean, dude, you're 154 pounds, bro. Like, you ain't too far off of Triple G's weight. spar with him. You know what I mean? Spar with him if you can, or go to Big Bear, join his camp or some shit if you can get in, or however that works, and spar with him. I mean, if he fucks you up, then is he still ass? Or will that change your mind? Or what does he have to do? You don't think he could beat Daniel Jacobs, but what if he does? What are you gonna say then? You know what I mean? It's guys like that. Like, that kind of shit I do kind of have a problem with. But, you know, the guys who will go off and he'll destroy him, but he shouldn't have fought him yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. It's funny as fuck, dude. Like, it doesn't make me mad. It's just, it's so hilarious. It's like fucking hilarious. It's comical. You know what I mean? And I think I just feel like he does it on purpose, though. I feel like he's doing it on purpose. So I ain't gonna talk shit about Troy, man, or Troy King, but I mean, he's funny as fuck. I can say that at the least. But yeah, man. That's basically what I'm saying is, you know, the separation of fans in boxing for whatever reason. I mean, no one's gonna see eye to eye about anything. You know what I mean? About any fight. At least not on the exact same level. You know what I'm saying? There's always gonna be some challenges from other boxing fans. You know, from a boxing fan challenging another boxing fan. But that's the name of the game. But all I can really say is, if you're gonna trash a boxing fan on my channel, or if you're gonna, like, if you see one of my subscribers comment on my shit and he gives, you know, it's a good comment, even if it's something that completely disagrees with whatever I was saying, but you trash talk him and you talk shit, but there's nothing validating your slandering, then I'm probably gonna defend the dude who was telling me that I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if you trash talk me, you know what I'm saying, on my channel, hey, you could talk shit to me as much as you want, and I'm fucking completely okay with it, because boxing to me is it's something that I love, but goddamn, it doesn't dictate my logic. You know what I'm saying? So, or like how I look at things, or it ain't gonna make me fucking hate you or anything. But I mean, if you shit talk me on my channel, that's cool. I ain't gonna block you. I won't block no fucking body. You could troll my shit, talk all the shit you want. But if you're gonna slander me or talk shit to me, at least give me, you know what I'm saying, some information to back it up. You know what I mean? So that way I can understand where you're coming from. Because if I don't know what angle you're trying to come at me, you know what I'm saying, I probably just ain't gonna reply to you, because I don't know what you're trying to say or why you feel the way you feel. So if you do comment on my shit, you know, just give me some information. Give me some elaboration as to why you feel that way. You know, this is a boxing fans channel. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage boxing fans to express the way that they feel with words. You know what I'm saying? Don't drop the mic on me, because you drop the mic on me, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You can do it, but you could drop the mic on me if you want, but I'm not gonna respond. You know what I mean? And hopefully no one else responds or feeds into that bullshit. But if you disagree with me or talk shit about me, that's cool, man. I just need to know why. I just need to know why you feel the way you feel. That gives me an opportunity to defend myself to what you said, and then I will give you information as to why I feel that way, or I'll give you information as to why I disagree with you, or I'll even give you information as, I ain't gonna hit you with like, yeah, agreed, bro, I feel you. I'm gonna tell you why I agree with you, or I'll add on to why, you know what I'm saying, like to what you said. You know what I mean? I feel like that's effective communication amongst boxing fans, even if it isn't a positive interaction, even if it has some sort of conflict within the conversation, you know. But that's all I ask on this channel. And if you guys watch this, maybe hopefully I've influenced you enough to, you know, maybe look at boxing a little bit differently as a boxing fan, or treat these YouTube, or treat the Ytbc, you know, a little bit differently. The next time you go on a YouTube channel and comment, maybe you'll approach it a little bit differently or something, you know. At least a little, you know, whether it's civil or not. It don't have to be civil. If you want to approach it with hostility, by all means, but please, on anybody's boxing channel, elaborate on your hostility. Don't just, hey, fuck you, and then drop the mic, or fuck Triple G, and then drop the mic, or Guillermo Rigondeaux is boring, and that makes him a shitty fighter, and then drop the mic and it's over with. Nah, that don't really work. It doesn't work that way. It might work that way for you, but it ain't gonna work that way for anybody else. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Maybe I'll make another video kind of elaborating on everything that I said. This is just kind of like a generalization of how I feel about boxing fans. So, like the video, comment on the video, and let me know what you think. Talk some shit if you want. Just make sure you want to back it up with some information. If you agree with me, let me know why you agree with me, and we'll talk about it. We can have plenty of conversations on this channel, whether it's hostile or not. I'm down. It's just about boxing. You know what I mean? It's just boxing. And make sure that, regardless of how you feel about boxing, make sure you introduce somebody to boxing. Steer them in any direction you want to. That's completely fine. But allow them to develop their own opinions over time. Expose them to fighters, but let them form their own opinions if you can help it. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. I will talk to you on the next one. Sebastian from The Boxing Tip signing out. Peace.